Starting with that Midair tragedy, investigators say there were no survivors when a passenger jet carrying 60 passengers and a military helicopter collided. The video shows the harrowing moments. That crash happened right as that jet was preparing to land at Ronald Reagan National Airport. The aircraft plummeting in the river below. And now new audio has been released from air traffic control.
Crash, crash, crash. This is alert 3. Crash, crash, crash.
I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
The satellite image shows the debris from the crash as well as oil left in the Potomac River. A federal report says staffing at the air traffic control tower was not normal at the time, with only one worker performing the job of normally 2 people.
So here's what we know right now. The jet was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members. There were 3 soldiers in that Army helicopter. The passengers include figure skaters returning from the 2025 U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas, and 2 of their acclaimed Russian-born coaches. So far, at least 28 bodies have been recovered from the river, with recovery operations underway right now. Investigators are also searching for the black box that is still underwater. Some big questions tonight, including how did a military helicopter and a commercial airline crash midair?
And while the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, is leading this investigation, President Donald Trump is offering his early analysis.
We do not know enough facts to be able to rule in or out human factor, mechanical factors. That is part of the NTSB investigative process.
There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late.
The president referring to a warning air traffic controllers gave to the helicopter pilot, or in this case, Pat 25, asking if they see the commercial regional jet, or CRG, then telling them to pass behind.
That we have immediately begun.
And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the helicopter crew was fairly experienced, performing a required annual night evaluation, and they did have night vision goggles. And in a briefing this morning, President Donald Trump questioned former President Joe Biden and DEI policies in the FAA, and here's what he said.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. The FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
And right now, there's no evidence that diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and hiring preferences played a role in the crash, or that the FAA made any errors in relation to the crash.
President Trump acknowledged the investigation is still in the early stages. His comments today sparking some backlash from the Senate Minority Leader.
I just watched President Trump's news conference. Listen, it's one thing for internet pundits to spew off conspiracy theories. It's another for the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
A prayer vigil was held tonight in Wichita, Kansas for the victims in the crash. And that's where this plane departed from. The passengers included figure skaters returning from the 2025 U.S. Figure Skating Championships and 2 of their acclaimed Russian-born coaches.
So we know Washington correspondent Jackie DeFusco has been at the crash site since yesterday gathering information. She has the latest from the victims in this case, and many of those victims have not been named yet as search and rescue and recovery efforts continue in the Potomac River. Here's what she covered today.
The U.S. figure skating community in shock today after losing 14 members in an aircraft collision near Washington's Reagan National Airport on Wednesday.
We're family, and it's a community, and the skaters, the people who were on that plane, they're our family too.
Even when you're crying, hurt, pain, you get back up and move forward. It's not easy, but that's what we all have to do now together.
Among those now presumed dead are 6 members of the Skating Club of Boston who were coming back from a national development camp following the U.S. Championships in Wichita, Kansas. Douglas Lane lost his adopted son Spencer, just 16 years old.
The best way I can describe him is just was a force of nature. He just had amazing athletic abilities.
And his wife, Christine.
Someone who had so many talents. It was just such a beautiful person and just connected with everyone.
The Boston Skating Club is also mourning the loss of teen skater Gina Hahn and her mother.
Gina, just a wonderful kid, wonderful parents, great athlete, great competitor, loved by all.
Along with the world champion couple and renowned Russian coaches, Yevgenia Shishkova and Vadim Nemov.
When you lose coaches like this, you lose the future of the sport as well.
And we're also getting more information tonight about that American Airlines crew who was on board, about a flight attendant named Ian Epstein, whose daughter describes him as somebody who loved to travel and to meet new people. A pilot named Sam Lilly, a former employer, saying he was always wearing a smile and that he loved to fly, of course. And a co-pilot named Jonathan Campos, who we're learning is a graduate of Embry-Riddle in Daytona Beach. Again, these are just some of the many victims that are presumed dead on this flight, and many still tonight have yet to be identified. Live in Washington, I'm Jackie DeFusco, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, the more real it gets, the more that we learn about these victims. It is just so heartbreaking. Jackie, thank you so much for your live report from Washington, D.C. tonight.
And we'll continue to follow the latest breaking developments as they happen both on air and online. You can go to KCRA.com or the KCRA 3 app, and you'll see everything we know about the victims, as well as the map of the aircraft's path. And you can also find the information on the KCRA 3 app.